Please hang up and try again.
Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios. Driven by General Tire. It's Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined with Kenny Sargent.
We love to party.
Crash Gladys.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
And Statman.
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Freak Nation, we're a man down tonight. Well, actually, two men down tonight. Richard C. Suave, he's not here. Crasher, she's out, man.
Wait a minute. You're not going to call Crash a man down. I mean, Crash is a freak down.
That's a good point. Statman setting it straight out of the gate, man. Crasher will not be with us tonight. Hopefully, she'll be with us next weekend. We intended to do our Freakies, our annual Freakies tonight, but we can't do our Freakies without Crash. So we'll save our Freakies for next weekend, the 18th, here on the Freak Radio Network. If you guys are watching us on YouTube, Facebook Live, how are you doing, man? Thank you guys for hanging out. We're going to we're going to highlight some of our favorite interviews over 2022, this show and next week's show. For this show, Scott Dixon, your 2022 Indy 500 pole sitter, will join us here in the Freak Nation. What's a show without John Force? Well, it's not this one. John Force will be a part of this show. AJ Allmedinger in here as well. And Petter and Oliver Solberg. Statman, don't think we've ever had a father-son duo, especially rally dudes, here in the Freak Nation.
That's pretty crazy. Petter we've been around long enough to recognize when Petter was the fastest in the world. Now his son is trying to get to that same place, and we're still on the air.
Right. So we're going to hear from Petter Solberg and his son, Oliver. Petter Solberg, where does he rank as far as world rally drivers?
He's part of the new breed that's coming online. It's like Cali Rovanpera and some of the other ones. Rovanpera won the championship this year. That's another one. We talked to Rovanpera's dad without Cali at the Mint 400 one year. So, yeah, he was involved in off-road racing. But, yeah, that's another rabbit hole that we don't need to go into. Oliver is one of the fastest in the world. Won a bunch of events here when he came to the United States. The United States is one of those places that Europeans like to come to because of the variety of roads. So, yeah, he came and figured it out real quick, and he's been going to the World Rally Championship, and it's being competitive. He's not a championship driver yet like his dad, but he's getting close.
Freak Nation, again, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook Live, be sure you like, subscribe, and do everything else you need to do to get reminded that the Freaks have a new show for you to be a part of, meaning we've uploaded a show or we're going live. Subscribe and like everything under the planet that Speed Freaks is on. You follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and again on Facebook. If you're watching this, hell, you're already part of the Freak Radio Network, man. It's a radio show for 22 plus years that we decided to put our smiling faces on YouTube a little over a year ago. And, well, again, here we are. Statman and I were talking about this. How much time do we have? I can get into this real quick. We got about 2 minutes. When was the last time you've seen Tom Brady get throttled like he is earlier this afternoon against San Francisco? And I said, when was the last time we saw Tom Brady kicked off the network for another damn game, Statman?
I can't think of it ever. They used to stick with Brady even when he was beating up people, but now they've got a rookie, the Mr. Irrelevant is starting against Tom Brady, and he put Brady into a chain of about 15 minutes of commercials. They were trying to get out of there as fast as they could. Mr. Irrelevant. That's even bigger than cutting away from Brady. 35-0, the 49ers were beating him when they said enough of this and cut away to something else.
Yeah, how about that, man? San Francisco 49ers down to their third string or third quarterback with Jimmy G gone, but Justin Fields got the start, right?
Now Justin Fields is with Chicago. I think it was, what's the guy's name? Love?
Yeah.
I can't think of his first name right now, but that's how important he was. He started for 4 or 5 weeks, got his bad ankle, and had to bring back Jimmy G.
Well, Freak Nation, we got some motorsports to talk about. Well, we're going to talk with some of the biggest names in all of motorsports for the next 2 hours. Make sure you stick around for some of these legendary interviews. But first, going to resume with some of our affiliates. Get right back into it.
Speed Freaks, we promise to suck less. Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
The Freaks.
Bringing in our friends at Sports Map Radio Network. Thank you for being a part of this on a Sunday night. Lucas Oil Studios. That's Lucas Oil Studios, going on 23 years of doing this. And the more people I talk to, Statman, about us being on the air for 23 years, they kind of go, what? No, really?
That's hard to believe. I always say there are people that said we wouldn't make it 23 weeks, but they ended up in jail.
Yes. So again, thank you guys for allowing us to be in your car, in your homes, now on your computers. It's fantastic that we continue to do what we do here with the Freak Nation. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, of course, Instagram, and on YouTube if you're watching us. How you doing, man? This show for the next 2 hours, John Force will be in here. Scott Dixon will be in here. AJ Allmedinger, after his Talladega race, he'll be here in the Freak Nation. And he's not a big fan of Talladega. The next time they go to Talladega will be the next time he says, I hate Talladega.
Allmedinger, you talk about history. I still remember him watching Joe Heitzler bow to the Freaks. He was shocked.
Joe Heitzler, the president of CART at the time. That's a whole another rabbit hole that eventually we'll get into. One of the highlights of our 22 years. So AJ Allmendinger, Petter Solberg, along with his son Oliver Solberg, will be joining us here in the Freak Nation. You got your stat man, Scat. Real quick, stat man, you've got the end of the year here. The motorsports season, for all intents and purposes, is done. The first thing that kicks off for the 2023 season is Supercross. The hell are we going to do for 2 weeks, buddy?
I don't know. We're going to enjoy good time.
All right, Freak Nation, when we return, AJ Allmendinger and Running Talladega from Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
They'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
It's more than just a slogan. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. General Tire's Grabber X3 Mud Terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressively styling the Speed Freaks since 2001.
Crasher, we've been ordering from Omaha Steaks for so long now that we've influenced your family, including your mom. Just before Christmas, bam, right to our front door, we get those juicy steaks, tasty burgers, ready for the holiday season.
It's every season, and you know her favorite, and it's now mine too, chicken cordon bleu. I mean, it's so much more than steaks at omahasteaks.com. Chicken, appetizers, green bean casserole, broccoli gratin, corn. Oh my gosh, the variety is incredible. The quality is second to none, and the convenience?
It doesn't get any more convenient than omahasteaks.com. Use code FREAKS, FREAKS at your checkout and get $30 off your order.
omahasteaks.com. Check out with code FREAKS to be happy.
I could taste them right now. Omaha Steaks, ready to ship your order right away. So shop now. Beat the rush, man.
That's omahasteaks.com. Use promo code FREAKS to check out with $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required.
It's edgy and downright offensive at times.
So he wins my What an Idiot for the month of July.
See the world of NASCAR through their eyes.
Hey, it's TJ, Brett, and Freddie.
Superstar guests and plenty of hot takes.
And we are door bumper clear.
NASCAR hits MAV TV with Door Bumper Clear. Only on MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
FreakNation, a set of General tires would look pretty snappy underneath the tree this holiday season, right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Go to generaltire.com, find the tire for your ride, find the tire for your wife's ride or your son's ride or your daughter's ride, and get those grab those tires, put them under the tree, and listen, they walk down there Christmas morning and see some tires underneath there. Love you forever. Go to generaltire.com. That's generaltire.com. AJ Allmedinger coming up next. Not coming up next, coming up in moments, one of our highlight interviews for the 2022 season. And he talks a lot about Talladega and how much he does not like the damn track, Stat man.
AJ Allmedinger doesn't hold back on about anything. I remember asking him once what kind of music he listened to, and at the time he was listening to some hard rock by a band called Disturbed, and just watching him say the word Disturbed, I had to step back a step. AJ Allmedinger's pretty wild. If there was a fourth freak, he'd certainly be on the short list because he's about as crazy as they come.
FreakNation, we're highlighting 2022 and some of our favorite interviews. It's AJ Allmendinger after his run at Talladega. Now, SpeedFreaks Pit down in the Lucas Oil Studios. Doing what he does best, having dogs lick his face. If you're watching this on YouTube and Facebook Live, was that the first person to greet you outside of your family after that Xfinity Series race win at Talladega on Saturday?
It was. Tickles did not care that much. He just was laying down. I tried to pick him up, and he bit me. So Zena wins here. Hey, over here.
Zena.
Over here. There you go.
Zena.
This is great radio, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Yes, for the people who cannot watch this right now, we have an absolutely adora Zena, the warrior princess dog, on film with us right now.
That's right.
Hey, Allmendinger, I know it's tough to get used to this, but let's talk serious business out of the gate. I don't need to get into all the madness, but you and I had a conversation back in April. You joined the one and only Kenny Sargent post-race with your top three finish, and you talked about how gnarly it is running Talladega, and you were running for the lead. You had Jeffrey Earnhardt, and you're not going to take out an Earnhardt in that race. And then this race, in the blink of an eye, you win the damn thing. Is it still the anxiety that you talked about back in April, running the same race again a few months later that you experienced?
Yeah, I still hate it. Yeah. I'll never love or enjoy super speedway racing. With that said, I'm still going to, when it's time to try to get it, if there's a chance to win or go for the win, I'm still going to make the moves that I think are right to do that. But yeah, for me, it's a lot of anxiety. I just kind of relate it to if somebody drops a grenade in the middle of the field and it's like, hey, watch what happens here. And you're waiting for it to happen. Yesterday, it kind of helped because with green flag stops and not having any caution flags there, it broke the field apart to where we only had 13 or 14 cars in the lead pack. So kind of knew it was going to wait longer for everybody to make the move. But yeah, it's not racing that I enjoy, but at the end of the day, they still give trophies at the end of those races. And that's what we're there to try to get.
Okay. So AJ Allmendinger, winner of the Xfinity race at Talladega this weekend. You pretty much answered my question there, but I'm still going to I'm going to ask it anyway and see if you change any of what you just said. Does the anxiety hold with you all race? Is it because you're anticipating that big one, or is the anxiety that last lap, hoping that you don't give up too big of a lead or hoping that you don't jump ahead too early, or a combination of both?
It's just everything. Even early in the race, you're just, heck, it was lap 2. Ty Gibbs gets spun and we're right by it. And so it's just, you're kind of always waiting for it and you're just trying to make the right moves. But yeah, definitely at the end of the races, that anxiety builds up and you're just kind of waiting of, okay, what's going to happen here? And as I said, it's, that there's a possibility of the big one happening and being in it. I've always just kind of felt like if you can not be the cause of it, like if you're in it and you're in it, but if you're not the cause of it, then it is what it is. But yeah, it's not, I've never really enjoyed it. Even early in my career, I was like, okay, this is different type of racing. You're never getting away from people. So, but like I said, I feel pretty confident about making the right moves or at least putting myself in the right position. And then from there, it's just seeing what happens. What can I do for you?
Oh, yes. You just keep winning, Dad. That's what he's saying. Keep winning, Dad.
Zena, all right, you got to get down. Like, there we go. Yeah, she's down.
AJ Allmendinger joining the Freaks on a Sunday night and 14 Xfinity wins. You had a career reboot a couple of years ago, and it has just been nothing but fun to follow. Did you really think that this was a possibility a couple of years ago? And how much are you really enjoying this?
Did I lose you guys?
Oh, no.
No, you're there.
You're back. All right. I lost it. See, this is what happens. I turn on the Wi-Fi in my house and everything just locks down. Really nice. I was trying to be smart there.
Yeah. Just, you're stick to racing cars, not working on home Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I think, all this is just unexpected. We've talked about it over the last couple of years, right? All of it is unexpected and I don't really take it for granted. I am truly enjoying it. I think I'm probably, I would say, more passionate about it now. And I would say probably even more on edge a little bit when it comes time to the race, because I want to go out there and try to win. And I know we have great chances to win and I'm having a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, when I thought I was trying to retire, it was one of those things where it's like, all right, I've had a good career. I wish it could have been a little bit better and I could have won some more races and things like that. But with everything that's happened now, this is just kind of like the cherry on top. And in a weird way, and this is going to probably be really weird saying to you guys, because you've been around me since it started, I'm probably more comfortable in my own skin than I've ever been. And in the sense of being okay, being happy with the way my career's going. And, I know with you guys, I'm really outgoing, but there's getting the race car and it's like, man, there's doubt. It's like, okay, what, maybe I can't get it done or things like that. And I'm always hard on myself. So I think more than ever, I'm more confident in myself and more comfortable in my own skin that in any situation we can have a shot to win. And Matt Collig and Chris Rice really instilled that in me and all the men and women at Collig Racing. But yeah, it's just, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And as I said, it's I think I'm enjoying it because I didn't expect it to happen. So now we're just riding the wave.
AJ Allmedinger is a longtime friend of the Freaks, having an enormous amount of success in the Xfinity Series. Want to ask you a question, though, that I don't know if you want to answer. Tell me about the conversations that are going on in the garage about the Cup car and all the things that people are saying about how dangerous it is.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, I listen. I don't really, involve myself in the conversations because I'm not in the car all the time. I'm just running part time. Knock on wood, it'll happen at some point. I'm sure I haven't had really any big hits in the car, but there's no doubt the cars are rigid. Like they're stiff. Just even riding the bumps in the car. I mean, they're really stiff, and you feel it. And you feel it when you even have door-to-door contact with somebody, or you go to a racetrack. Texas is a perfect example. Obviously, last week, see all the tire issues, but just riding through 3 and 4, the track's bumpy and you feel it. So, there's the veterans of that are more outspoken that have been there for a long time. Kevin Harvick and Denny and those guys. I mean, they're doing the talking for all of us. I think we're all in agreement that, hey, like we got to do something about this, because you see somebody like Alex Bowman and Kurt Busch just back it in. And Kurt's was I felt like a bigger hit. You thought, okay, but even that, you still wouldn't think anything of it. But Alex, I mean, he barely backed into Texas, and it's a shock to the system. So it's one of those things that we know that there's got to be work done. It's hopefully it's done in the right way, and the conversations are happening inside and quiet, and something's done about it, because we can't keep going this way.
You might be the perfect person to ask this question of, you have had success in open wheel. You've had success in sports cars and prototypes, the highest end of sports cars, and you've had success in stock cars. Now, is this new car stiffer than, say, a sports car or an open wheel car that you've driven, or is it just stiffer than the old Cup car, which makes it different for the new drivers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely the champ cars and Indy cars that I drove. It's a lot stiffer, just because none of the parts fly off when you hit. It's for the generic fan, you see the biggest wrecks, right? And wheels and suspension pieces and stuff and bodywork and stuff are flying off. You think, wow, that looks massive. Well, for the driver, that's the best wreck, because all the energy is being kind of dissipated from inside the cockpit. And that's why the stuff is happening. This Cup car, nothing moves, just kind of nothing budges. And so when you're in the seat, that's the driver takes that, because nothing's really flying off the car. And, the old Cup car, you could see you back it in the fence, and I mean, it would fold the back of the car up to the rear deck lid, up to the glass. And you're like, that's a huge hit. But for the driver, that's great, because all the back end of the car is taking the energy away. Well, now, I mean, you saw like Kurt and even all the wrecks of Texas, but like Kurt's especially, and Alex's, he back it in, and hell, there's hardly any damage to the car. And I think that's I don't know, a full redesign, or if there's, and I don't have a great knowledge of inside the race car, but if there's certain bars you can take away that allow the thing to kind of crumple a little bit better. So I've been the first one to say, like, I actually enjoy driving the car. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass to race, because they're really aero dependent at certain racetracks, but I've actually had fun driving the race car. And so, maybe I don't know. I haven't talked to other drivers about it. Like, maybe I'm in the minority of people that enjoy driving it, but I actually really have fun driving the race car. But yeah, the safety aspect is something that needs to be worked on. And there's always a little bit of, it's a new car, so you're going to learn, but we can't keep learning on the fly and having drivers get injured, because that's not good for the sport.
But AJ Allmedinger, again, your Xfinity Series winner, Talladega, joining us in the Lucas Oil Studios. That's what's fun for a fan, at least for the three of us, is to put the car in the driver's hands. Not like a track is the one that's going to dictate how the race finishes. It's you and the GDAM car. Isn't that what 30 of the drivers want?
Yeah. So I don't think the drivers certainly the way. So I will say this, with how aero dependent it is, sometimes it's hard to pass, and the tires, even at Texas, we saw tire issues, but the tire, like the speed would not fall off on the tires. Unfortunately, they would just let go, and that's why we saw the accidents. So I think at some of these racetracks, and it's a fine line of trying to figure out, Goodyear on the fly of learning this car, but you get some tire wear to where the cars fade a little bit. It makes passing a little bit better, but that's what I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's a tough car to drive. Like it's the rigidness of how quick the steering is. It makes it fun to drive. It's just the problem is if it goes wrong, it's, you can't have drivers getting punished, especially on small accidents like that sometimes. But that's what I've enjoyed it. I mean, it's not an easy car, especially when you're hauling it off in the corner like a Bristol or a Dover like that. I think as we learn the aero of the car, you make it a little bit better following another car, so you can get close to them and make the pass if you're close enough.
Okay, we had a text thread going, I think it was earlier this morning, amongst Statman, myself, and Kenny, trying to figure out this car and why drivers are not feeling well after crashes. And you bring up some amazingly valid points about the back of the car not crumpling. But Statman, I really like what you brought up, because I started thinking, okay, we haven't seen big hits like this in IndyCar or in sports cars, and they're all made by Dallara. So there is that common denominator that doesn't seem to be showing itself in this new NASCAR Cup car. However, Statman said, what if it's soft wall technology? What if we need to re-look at that whole technology and make the walls better? Is there any aspect there that might be a possibility? Because Joseph Newgarden had a pretty big hit this year that also gave him a concussion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when it comes to safety of the drivers, everything should be on the line of okay, let's figure it out. To even the point of, I brought up, like, do we need to work on our seats a little bit as well? Like, I still think you look at the trucks and you look at the Xfinity cars and the old Cup cars. We hit, and it wasn't that big of an issue of really at least driver safety, where you thought, okay, a head injury, and that's what we're really talking about, head injuries especially. You look at it and go, okay, like that's a real issue. But even our seats, you look at how we do our seats, and you do the way you pour them, and the foam hardens up, and it's there to hold you in tight, but your head kind of slaps it. It's a little bit probably like football in head slapping turf, like you just kind of get that quick whiplash and bounce off the seat. So everything really should be looked at. But I think the reason the car gets the most looked at and scrutiny of it is because trucks and Xfinity and the old Cup car, we didn't have this much of an issue. So the walls haven't changed. And to me, it's if nothing else has changed and now we're talking about the car, like, okay, that's the first thing you look at. But when it comes to safety, I think we can always keep developing and making it better.
Freak Nation, his name AJ Allmedinger here in the Freak Nation. That's about 15 minutes of serious conversation, which is incredible.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with serious. Yeah.
Well, then you can't see it. Statman has a Noah Gragson T-shirt on right now.
Right.
So can you do everything you can to keep Gragson out of that championship, and freaking pretty boy Ty Gibbs? Keep those happy bastards out of this championship, all right?
Well, I did try to go to a new strategy going into Texas after Bristol. I walked up to Ty before the Cup race, and I was like, man, I'm disappointed in you. He's like, why, man? Why? I was like, you're Noah's bitch now. And and he was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I was like, there's a day and age, man. You just used to, I looked at you wrong. You get on the racetrack, you turn into me. I'm like, but now you just let Noah run into you. You do nothing about it. I'm like, that's cool. I get it. He owns you. That's fine. And then Noah happened to be at our shop that week, or the couple days later. because he was getting ready to run the Cup car at Texas, and Noah tried to be funny, which didn't work. And he was like, he said, "You're welcome." I said, "For what, Noah?" He goes, "For guaranteeing you that regular season championship, getting Ty out of the way." And I said, I don't know. You might want to watch out, because Ty, before the Cup race, said he was going to absolutely destroy you the next time you got near him. He said, "I owe him one more still." I said, "That's not the way he feels." I said, "You better watch out, because he might just absolutely wreck your ass the next time he sees you." And he was like, "Well, that ain't going to happen." I'm like, "Well, I'm just telling you." So we can't, get a little bit more speed out of the race cars. I'm going to see if I can start some fights between the other drivers and get them focused on each other and just let them slide through.
As we said, A.J. Allmedinger here in the Freak Nation, not afraid to speak his mind as we highlight 2022 and some of our favorite interviews here in the Freak Nation, Lucas Oil Studios. Coming up, Petter Solberg and his son, Oliver Solberg, will be here in the Freak Nation. And we'll hear from Statman talking about that relationship and what those two dudes mean to not just World Rally, but to motorsports across the world. Petter Solberg, Oliver Solberg, and, of course, Statman Scat here in the Freak Nation, Lucas Oil Studios.
It's funny how our culture can often equate wealth with intelligence. Elon Musk, for example, is the world's wealthiest man. He knows about electric cars and sending rockets to Mars, but is having trouble and is confused about social media. Same with NFL team owner Daniel Snyder. He made billions in marketing and advertising, but he's having problems managing people, especially women. Now there's Roger Penske, a billionaire in various businesses, but he's been blistered by people in the IndyCar industry who say he's fumbled marketing. This week, IndyCar announced a video docuseries for next spring before the Indy 500. The network footprints are relatively small, but the audience that will get access to that programming is new to IndyCar. Maybe the captain knows how to navigate the stormy seas of marketing enough to walk down the hill and get them all. He doesn't have great experience selling tickets. Maybe this deal will prove Roger Penske can cross over many bridges at once. Still, there are several in IndyCar who think Roger can't find a marketing bridge with a GPS. Peace.
Hey, it's Kenny Sargent, a loyal Omaha Steaks dude for years. And during the holidays, for my family, I'm ordering juicy burgers, tender filet mignon, air-chilled, naturally lean chicken, and a side of stuffed baked potatoes from omahasteaks.com. And the great news? I get to taste all of it when I go home for the holidays. It's pretty wise, huh? Well, when you use the code FREAKS right now with your order at omahasteaks.com, you're going to grab an additional $40 off your order. And that's on top of an already 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Code FREAKS, and you'll get $40 off. The tastiest steaks, pork, chicken, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals, they're waiting for you at omahasteaks.com. Take the guesswork out of gifting. Order now with code FREAKS for $40 off. And beat the rush, because some things never change, right? Omaha Steaks, the world's best beef. Every steak and every entree comes with 100% money-back guarantee. Order today, beat the shipping rush, and use promo code FREAKS at checkout for $40 off at omahasteaks.com. Minimum order may be required.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio Redefined.
Freak Nation, go to lucasoil.com. That's lucasoil.com. Check out their product spotlight of the week and their Sure Start premium starting fluid. Helps start stubborn engines fast in cold weather. Kind of come in handy right about now, right? Saves batteries, contains upper cylinder lubricant, performs up to minus 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Lucas Oil. Minus 65, Stat man.
You might have to wear a sweater with that. Minus 65. Wow.
Lucas Oil's Sure Start Premium Starting Fluid. Coming up in about 7 or 8 minutes, we're going to have Petter Solberg and Oliver Solberg. Of course, the father-son duo. Petter Solberg, World Rally champion. Oliver seeking his first championship. But first, Stat, Petter Solberg, Oliver Solberg, hell of a duo there. What has Petter Solberg meant to World Rally? Everything I see, I don't see him like in the top 8 or 9. Would you put Petter Solberg in top 10 World Rallycross or World Rally?
All time?
Yeah.
I don't know. He won a championship, competed for Ford and Subaru World Rally teams. He won a couple of championships in World Rallycross, but he did have a huge impact. And I guess that's like putting somebody in the Hall of Fame. They may only have one ring, but they were great enough to impact the sport. And I think Petter impacted the sport globally as well as in Europe. He won the 2003 World Rally Championship. He won 2 championships, the first 2, I believe, in the FIA World Rally Cross Championship in 14 and 15. And he won his last 2 years in competitive sport. His Volkswagen team won the team championship at the FIA in 17 and 18. So that's a team title in the World Rallycross Championship. So he's had an impact, and we'll yet to see how Oliver, his son, who finished 12th in the points this year, didn't run all 12 events, finished 5, didn't finish in 3 more, but he was only 2 points behind Sebastian Loeb in 11th.
Bang. So it'll be Petter Solberg and his son, Oliver Solberg. I believe we caught up with them in February of 2022. We're highlighting some fantastic killer freaking interviews that we've been a part of for the last year here in the Freak Nation. And as promised, coming up in about 3.5 minutes, Petter Solberg and Oliver Solberg, World Rally stars here in the Freak Nation.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
You know, they'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
It's more than just a slogan. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressively styling the speed freaks since 2001.
Hey, it's Kenny Sargent, a loyal Omaha Steaks dude for years. And during the holidays for my family, I'm ordering juicy burgers, tender filet mignon, air-chilled, naturally lean chicken, and a side of stuffed baked potatoes from omahasteaks.com. And the great news? I get to taste all of it when I go home for the holidays. It's pretty wise, huh? Well, when you use the code FREAKS right now with your order at omahasteaks.com, you're going to grab an additional $40 off your order. And that's on top of an already 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Code FREAKS and you'll get $40 off. The tastiest steaks, pork, chicken, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals, they're waiting for you at omahasteaks.com. Take the guesswork out of gifting. Order now with code FREAKS for $40 off and beat the rush because some things never change, right? Omaha Steaks, the world's best beef. Every steak and every entree comes with 100% money-back guarantee. Order today, beat the shipping rush, and use promo code FREAKS at checkout for $40 off at omahasteaks.com. Minimum order may be required. Back with the Freaks. Be sure to check out GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com to find the tire for your ride. Man, it's cold out there, wet out there, icy, snowy. Roll on some new General tires. Keep your friends and family safe when they're in your hot rod. Go to GeneralTire.com or go to our website, SpeedFreaks.tv. Hit the General Tire logo. Bam! Take you right to their website. Petter Solberg, a world rally champion, two-time world rallycross champion, and his son, Oliver Solberg, chasing his first World Rally Championship. We had a chance to catch up with these guys back in February of 2022. And it's always fantastic. We can bring a father-son duo into the Freak Nation. And it's, well, for me, it's just getting Petter Solberg. He was one of the easiest dudes to get on the show. It was incredible. And he's a freaking superstar. Petter Solberg and Oliver Solberg now with the Freaks, the Lucas Oil Studios. Well, Freak Nation, I can't say we've done this before. We've had rally champion Petter Solberg in the Freak Nation, but him and his son, Oliver Solberg, nope, it's never happened, but good reason that we have. A number of things we'd like to talk about, of course, Race of Champions, but real quick, guys, do you realize that Norway's kicking some major league ass in the Olympics where the number of medals, you guys, Norway has more medals than any other freaking country right now in the Olympics?
Well, it's going well for us, I guess. Race of Champions, Olympics, everything. We are... it's going strong now, so it's quite cool.
Guys like yourself who are well-known internationally, I'm curious about your other sports prowess. Oliver, you first, and Petter, what other sports do you guys follow?
Well, answer my first time. I like ice hockey. I like NHL, and of course I follow ice hockey in the Olympics now. So, I mean, that's one of my favorite sports beside rallying. So, a big fan of that. I played it for a while also, actually. So I'm not good, I can tell you that.
Oliver is quite small, you know, so on the ice hockey track, it was not so easy, to be honest with you. So
I was like the puck, you know, flying around.
Yeah. But hold on a second, real quick. Is it true that Petter is still taller than Sebastian Loeb?
Oh, no, Oliver.
I mean, Oliver.
That's not very difficult.
Yeah, Oliver, aren't you still taller than Sebastian Loeb, though?
Yeah, for sure.
What is he, like 5'2"? Is he even 5 foot?
I don't know how foot works.
Right.
He is about 160 in centimeters.
That's a short bastard, isn't it?
He's probably my height.
Well, anyway, they use the same seat and seat brackets and padding in the car that Oliver is using now. So it's exactly the same seat position in every car Oliver is doing anyway.
Oh, so there's a comparison, Sebastian Loeb to Oliver Solberg.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's quite cool, actually.
Okay, but seriously though, let's get to the Race of Champions from last weekend, and you guys both raced against Sebastian Loeb. How bizarre is that? I mean, this is such a friendly event anyway because it's just fun to see all these countries coming together. But then, damn it, one of your good friends, Sebastian Loeb, knocks the chance off for you guys to be able to race again as father-son. However, how fun was that overall?
Oh, well, honestly, you know, Sebastian Loeb is a very good friend of mine over many, many years. And he is an incredible driver, that's for sure. And we have a lot of good drivers there, but he was one of them to beat. And obviously, I was hoping more for Oliver to beat him this time, but it was so close in the fight between them. But anyway, Loeb knows Oliver very well. He had been also teacher for Oliver on tarmac a couple of times. But yeah, we want to beat him. But for me, I didn't have enough experience for a long time. But I did a small mistake, and then it took me. And but that's how racing is. But there was enough other good drivers there also.
That's incredible.
Wow. Oliver Solberg, you raced here in the United States, or rallied here in the United States back in 2019. And you had some success, 6 events, 3 wins. We always talk about here in the United States how good we are, how we measure up. But what did you learn here to take back to the international rallies in Europe?
Well, racing in America was probably the coolest time of my life. All the different places we went to, all the different people I met, and PR and marketing is definitely something you guys know, and that's probably one of the biggest things I learned. And especially now racing against Jimmy Johnson and Colton Hurt and all these guys here, they're so good drivers and also fantastic people and good at media, and they definitely know how to do PR. So, I mean, it's something big. It's something big that I learned when I was over in America, how to, work with sponsors and how to work with people and so on. And first of all, the rallies over there are fantastic. But the main thing that I could take into the international rally stage was probably to have more life in your interviews, have more passion. And even if I have a lot of passion, normally WRC interviews are quite boring. But in America, they know PR. So basically just more action and more life, and bring the sponsors into it, and just, PR.
Is there any rally here that resembles anything on the international stage? I've been told that the rally in Southern California used to resemble the roughness of Olympus, but or of the Acropolis.
Yeah, well,
are there any rallies here that resemble any events in Europe?
To be fair, many of the races were quite particular, and every race was so different. But Olympus rally up in Washington State was something which resembled maybe to Wales Rally GB, classic rally, which is legendary. And to be honest, that rally actually went in the late 70s as a World Championship round, also in Seattle. So it has a lot of history, and that I actually won that race, and it's a fantastic feeling, and it's a lot of history around there, and that fast roads, and it resembles to some European country forest roads. Yeah.
Wow, Petter, I've got to ask you this. I remember my dad, when I started being an athlete in high school, he said that he knew he was old when he ceased being Mr. Statman and became Statman's father. I imagine you are the same way. You, all the success you've had being a world champion in rallying and a double world champion in rallycross, you're close to becoming Oliver's dad. Is that a problem for you as he starts to rise up the ladder in rallying?
Well, first of all, I wanted Oliver to maybe do something different in life than motorsport. I know to reach the top, it's so hard, and it's like Oliver said before. We wanted him to try ice hockey, football, tennis, and everything. But if you want to be the best, you have to try so many different things in sport to try to be complete. I was the first one in Norway to reach the top in motorsport, to be a world champion, and I can give him all my experience, all my detail and stuff like that. But again, you also have some very good drivers in your country. Travis Pastrana. He's a good friend. Ken Block. These guys is actually the guys Oliver is looking up to, maybe more than me. But you really need to give everything you can of every single detail if you want to reach the top. And I think that experience, like Oliver did in America, completes more everything to be a very good driver. Even if he have a long way to go, but he still is on a very good pace.
But how does it feel? I'm sorry to jump in here again, guys, but how does it feel to become Oliver's dad versus being a former world champion?
Now I can actually hear your question. So yes, no problem at all. The thing is, I could maybe have continue my career with different type of motorsport, but I've been selfish my absolutely whole life, and enjoy of being a father and supporter for Oliver. It gives you much more, even more happiness and joy when you see your kid is doing well, but also that he's actually enjoying what he's doing so much, and this makes me sleep very well at night. And luckily, I have only one kid, because it is a big job to have a kid, especially when you're going up to this motorsport ladder. So, but answer your questions. I'm very happy to be a father.
Oh, that's way cool. And kind of circling back to some of the things we were talking about with Oliver earlier, Petter, how strange is it when sometimes Oliver can look at you and say, no, Dad, we don't do it that way anymore. Things have changed. How bizarre is that?
It's a very good question, actually, because this is starting to happen more and more now, when they grow up and Daddy, back off a little bit, And I can actually see this with Brian Deegan also, with Haley Deegan. I think she's starting to get control of their father very well also. And it's great to see, but I think when they start to give you that, back off a little bit, I think we have done a good enough job to where they are, and they have to develop in their own way and find their own direction and believe in what they're doing, So I'm more like a social guy now behind the scenes and talking to a lot of people and friends and fans, and Oliver is doing his job absolutely superb. So as long as he's keeping focused and he don't have any girlfriends yet, so that's also a perfect thing, because that can lose your focus.
Oh. Well, hold on a second, though. You say he's getting his advice as far as driving, let's say Sebastian Loeb, maybe Ken Block. Of course you, Dad. But when it comes to girls, who are you going to allow him to get the advice from?
First of all,
definitely not my dad.
Don't ask me about any questions like that. I think this will just happen automatically. I hope, so it's okay.
Well, I'd say a lot of race car drivers tend to do pretty well, so I think you're okay, buddy.
I think I'm fine.
Yeah, right.
Petter Solberg's son, Oliver Solberg, joining us here in the Freak Nation. Of course, Petter. Curious, you mentioned some fantastic driver names, and I know they've got to be different between drivers that you looked up to, Petter, versus where your son is now. Oliver, you're running against a 7-time NASCAR champion. That's significant. You're running against an IndyCar driver that really has a whole hell of a lot of promise, including Formula One in Colton Herta. How do you look at American drivers, Oliver, at this point?
Well, I'm a big 48 fan, to be honest, and I've been watching NASCAR for many years, and Jimmy is a fantastic guy when I met him now, and I've been looking up to him, as I said, for a long time. I love NASCAR. I also love IndyCar, and I watch Colton Herta a lot. It's really, really fast, and it's cool as two young drivers together racing with the two older generations together in the Nations Cup. And Colton is a fantastic guy. We turned out good friends now this weekend, and Jimmy is a great guy also. So definitely, you have so many great drivers in so many different sports, and you can really see that coming to snow and ice, and they really did great, and they could be so fast straight away. Yeah, very impressed. Very impressed. So, it was quite cool racing.
Then can I ask you this? If you have Petter, we had a chance to meet this gentleman, and Statman shared us an incredible insight to Ari Vatanen. Would he be a guy that you looked up to back in the day, Ari Vatanen, and what he did as a driver?
Honestly, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you now. When I rallycross was a big thing in Norway. We had Martin Skanke that we looked up to, because I came from autocross with my parents for 10 years. You know, we didn't have any money to do anything else, so we built all the cars ourselves. And yes, Martin Skanke in rallycross was a big hero. Well, when we got closer to 96, when I got some money to actually travel to the Swedish rally, then we were watching Juha Kankkonen, Ari Vatanen, Colin McRae, you name it. All these guys was for me big heroes. I was in the forest, minus 25, sleeping in the motorhome, and I mean, you know, crawling in the snow to watch this guy. It is people that I actually ended up with teammates, you know, few years later, and you know, if you dream enough, you know, it looks like everything is possible. And for me, my career and life have been absolutely fantastic. And to meet gentlemen like this, I must say, who took care of us young drivers that time, it's very respectful.
Wow, Oliver, if we take that to your career, what you're talking about, NASCAR, IndyCar, Jimmy Johnson, Colton Herta, you've done so well on pavement in rallying. Do we see you maybe coming to the United States to race? Heaven forbid NASCAR, but would you want to race in IndyCar or here in the United States on pavement?
Yeah, you never know. You never know. I was talking to Colton, and you know, he wants to come over to me in Sweden doing some rallying, and I come to him doing either some IndyCar, or if I go with Jimmy to do some NASCAR, you know. So you never know what happens. You never know. I still like going to focus on my career first now and push on, and then if I get some time over, I would love to come to America, do something. And IndyCar looks great. NASCAR looks awesome. So, you know, why not?
I think this crossover, you know, between, if you go quite a few years back, you were so in focus on your sport. Now it's much more crossover to change, to learn from each other and jump in to try. And I think that's a fantastic idea, you know, to do this, you know, challenges. So if we can introduce maybe a little bit more rallying to some other drivers, that actually Vettel said after the race of champions, he would love to try rallying now, and he's a good friend. So I said, yeah, no problem, I will help you. So Oliver coming over there and do something exchange with Colton, why not? You know, we are here to drive and learn.
I'm looking at Oliver's uniform there. He's got Shell on the uniform. That's Penske. And you have...
You're already connecting the dots, Statt, man.
You have Hyundai on the uniform. That's Brian.
Yeah, Monster, Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Brian, Brian Herta.
Why not?
Yeah, you've already got Brian Herta and Roger
number. I can tell it right here if you want to see.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. You're connecting the dots yourself before you even get ready. So it sounds like maybe there might be some American racing in your future.
You know, but the fun thing is actually that Colton's dad runs a Hyundai racing team over in America, which is quite cool. And he's often where the factory is in Germany. So you never know, maybe we have a connection there, you know.
Can you get your dad out of the ugly sweater, maybe? Ugly Christmas sweater? Hell, it's freaking February and he's still wearing it.
I didn't want to tell him, but thank you.
It's very Norwegian, you know. I'm proud of my country, you know. Where we are living, we have a lot of elk and reindeer and everything.
Kenny, just because you live in a land of cactus and desert doesn't mean that they can't wear their sweaters. Come on.
I get it. One last thing for you guys, and you mentioned the versatility of drivers nowadays. We've got one over here in Kyle Larson. You could put him in anything. You could put him on a tricycle and he would win. Has the Kyle Larson madness made it to you guys to where you understand how big of a deal it is for him to go out and win on dirt and go out and win a NASCAR championship after being suspended? Kyle Larson?
To be honest with you, you know, if you talk about Kyle Larson, he is starting to be also quite really well known here in Europe, you know, the following, because he's good in everything he jumps into. So when Jimmy Johnson moved from NASCAR. You know, many people have gone over to Kyle Larson now, to be honest with you. As a fan, it's true. And but this guy, he's small, he's tiny, good for weight balance in the car. He looks fit, and I think it's quite impressive what he did last year, to be honest with you. So yeah, we are watching him closely up here in Europe.
Wow. Yeah, we all are.
I would love to see him in a rally. Yes, abso-freaking-lutely.
Send him over. Send him over. We'll
yeah, right?
Well, I have enough cars they can try, so don't worry on the ice or snow or gravel or whatever. You know, it's no problem at all.
Wow.
Hey, real quick, before we let you guys go, we saw a lot of great videos behind the scenes. You guys doing a run in the snow. You guys having crazy drinks with each other. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about the personalities and being able to hang out with Vettel and Loeb and Johnson and Herta and just what goes on behind the scenes of Race of Champions? Because it looked like a lot of fun.
At least for me as a young guy, my dad knows him from before, but it was my first time there. And also for Colton, I think we had a fantastic time meeting all these legends that we look up to. And we had a lot of fun drinks. We had a lot of fun nights and ice bathing, sauna, just everybody having a good time together. And everyone really enjoyed. I think everyone was super humble, respectful, even if it was, you know, 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson, 2-time world champion in Formula One or whatever. You know, everyone was super humble, friendly, taking care of each other and having a great time. And, you know, my dad has been around this for a long time, but for me it was great to be included. And me and Colton, for example, we had a great time with all these older guys.
There was only one guy who didn't do ice bathing in the, you know, because we drilled a big hole in the ice.
I saw Tom Christensen go in there.
Elio
was the
only guy who didn't jump in.
We tried to push him. Even his wife went in, but not him.
What?
Okay, we're making fun of him for that.
The guy's won 4 freaking Indy 500s, and he won't get in the freaking
and 2
chilly water.
Rolex 24s.
Yeah. So please help us to give him a little bit.
Absolutely guaranteed.
Yeah.
Especially because his wife went in. I bet his daughter would go in too. But Elio doesn't.
She was tough.
Yeah.
Hey,
maybe if you put a wall there, if you put a wall in the water, he'd probably climb the wall
he'd climb
instead of going in the water.
Hold on real quick, though, Petter. I got to know, were you a part of, Statman, help me out here, 10 years or so ago, maybe even more, the short sheeting incident in the hotel room Race of Champions that Travis Pastrana came back and bragged about?
Well, it's a good. You can't tell you everything that's going behind the scenes, but I had actually Travis coming because I had a room underneath Travis, and he was pushing so hard for me to come up to his room, but luckily I didn't because that room was not looking good.
Yeah, I'm told that they have it down to a science to take the room apart and pack everything into the bathroom so that nothing gets too damaged. And when Travis,
it's a long story. It's a very long story.
And when Travis walked in with a GoPro on his head, somebody walked over and snatched it off and said, "Not here."
Not everything is good to have on the camera, guys.
I love it. What a great atmosphere.
Hey, Petter, you've always been so kind to join us for these interviews. We thank you very much. Sandra's a doll to work with. Oliver, hopefully we'll get you in here more often. But thank you both for doing this here in the Freak Nation, the Speed Freaks over here in the U.S., buddy.
Yeah, thanks to you. Thanks to you for having us.
And we're looking forward to come over to you guys to follow some of your racing a little bit. It will be great. You will see us around. Don't worry.
Bang.
Cool. Let's get an ice bath for Elio at the Indy 500.
Yeah,
let's force him to that.
Thank you, fellas.
All right, guys.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Please hang up and try again.
Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios. Driven by General Tire. It's Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined with Kenny Sargent.
We love to party.
Crash Gladys.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
And Statman.
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Second hour Speed Freaks, Freak Nation. Statman, Crash Gladys, she's not here. As we said last hour, we got us a freak down, man. She's not feeling well tonight. She'll be back next Sunday night. I'm Kenny Sargent. 22 years of Speed Freaks in the Lucas Oil Studios. We're highlighting our 2022 interviews. John Force this hour. Scott Dixon, your 2022 Indy 500 pole sitter, will be here in the Freak Nation. That's what I'm talking about, man. Scott Dixon, John Force, which reminds me, Statman, our friends with American Legion have teamed up with Chip Ganassi to help raise money for our veterans. And what they've done at Chip Ganassi Racing, which, by the way, of course, Scott Dixon drives for and has won championships and Indy 500 so forth. They've got these one-of-a-kind experiences where you can actually take Scott Dixon to school. You can work out with Chip Ganassi drivers. You can hang with Chip Ganassi in his shop. You can bid on these experiences, Statman, and you, too, can have these exclusive experiences from our friends at American Legion, Stat.
That's crazy. Take Scott Dixon to school. Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is a rabbit hole who did that Broadway show Hamilton. Did a big magazine piece, and they were going to his nephew was bragging about him in school, and nobody believed him. So he was in the limousine talking to the magazine writer and said, "What's the point of putting up with all this if you can't straighten out your nephew's friends?" And so he was going all the way to New Jersey, I believe, to support his nephew. That's all right. But you show up at school with Scott Dixon, for crying out loud, people are going to say, "Hey, who are you? And how can we get a part of that? The Freak Nation." Yeah, there you go.
It's the 10 days of Vets Giving with American Legion, Freak Nation. Check it out. Go to go to legion.org. That's legion.org, or follow American Legion on Twitter, Chip Ganassi Racing on Twitter. They'll break them every afternoon, or depending on where you are. They come out with a highlight of one of these 10 days of Vets Giving experiences at Chip Ganassi Racing. You can get signed die casts, posters, T-shirts, but man, see that guy next to me? Scott Dixon, baby.
There's another freak friend of the Freaks, R.J. Anderson. He races for Chip Ganassi Racing now in the Extreme E series all over the world. He was just a little off-road racer at Glen Helen when we first met him, and now he's racing all over the world. Got his picture all over the internet. Pretty cool.
So, needless to say, man, we could spend hours at this thing giving you all kinds of insight on these experiences. But just do yourself a favor. Go to legion.org for more information on how you can help our veterans here in the United States of America. Legion.org. John Force this hour. Again, Scott Dixon this hour. I mean, what can you say about John Force? I don't know if there's ever been a driver from all the series Statman that's been in the Freak Nation more than John Force.
That I don't know. I mean, he's been here. He's been a friend of the Freaks in front of the camera and behind the camera. The guy behind the curtain that the Wizard of Oz said, "Hey, ignore him." That was John Force for us a couple of times in the last 22 years. So John Force is a very special friend of the Freaks.
Yeah, so John Force will be coming in here in the Freak Nation, and this is one of his. The intention of this was more of a long form video interview. So the interview of itself is about 60 minutes long. We've got to crunch this thing down to about 12 or 13 minutes.
And that was just the second answer.
Yes. Yeah. So we got to condense this thing to about 12 or 13 minutes. And it's not easy because if you've ever heard a John Force interview, you can't go 10 seconds without going, what did he just say?
Yeah. Do we tell him the story of one of the first times he was on with us?
No.
I mean, it's just,
No.
John is just like in a class by himself. He is a class of his own.
16-time NHRA champion John Force here in the Freak Nation. Going to resume with some more affiliates and get right back at it.
Speed Freaks, we promise to suck less. Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
The Freaks.
Bringing in our buddies, Sports Map Radio Network, to the second hour of Speed Freaks. That man, Kenny Sargent, we got a freak down Crasher. She can't make it. She's ill tonight. She'll be back next Sunday night. Be sure you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, the website, speedfreaks.tv. And, of course, if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook Live, hey, how you doing, man? Chime in. Be a part of this big old thing. John Force coming up this hour, as we were talking a few minutes ago before we joined up with Sports Map Radio Network. The full interview of John Force is about 60 minutes long. We have to narrow that damn thing down to about 12 or 13 minutes. So imagine how that's going to go, right? Scott Dixon, your 2022 Indy 500 pole sitter, will be joining us this hour. So a big second hour. Got your stat man, Scat. Last hour, Petter Solberg with his son, Oliver Solberg. Yeah, World Rally Dudes here in the Freak Nation. That's how we roll. And AJ Allmedinger here in the Freak Nation. You know, we were talking about John Force and how many times he's been in the Freak Nation. I was talking to our agency stat man, and they were asking if we knew Mario Andretti. Yeah, Mario Andretti's been in here half a dozen. If not, I can't count how many times Mario's been. My point is,
he answered the phone for us at one time. His voice was on the phone, so he's been in the Freak Nation hundreds of times.
Yeah. So it's and Statman has said it many, many times where the bigger they are, the nicer they are, Stat.
Yep, without question. In fact, the quietest John Force has ever been when he was in the studio with us.
Right.
Where Eddie Cheever was talking, and I looked at him and said, John, you're awful quiet. He said, that's an Indy 500 winner. That got John Force's undivided attention.
Yeah. So looking forward to this hour. 2022 is a big year for us. Big year for a lot of people in motorsports. So we're giving you another taste of these 2022 interviews. We'll do it again next week. And we'll also have, our Freaky Award. So make sure you're part of that next week as well. Missing of the show, go to speedfreaks.tv and we'll have it up there for you Monday morning. Want to watch it? Go to YouTube and subscribe to official Speed Freaks on our YouTube page, Freak Nation. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Holy smokes, you can't get away from the Freak Nation. All right, man. John Force coming up.
Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Hey, it's Kenny Sargent, a loyal Omaha Steaks dude for years. And during the holidays, for my family, I'm ordering juicy burgers, tender filet mignon, air-chilled, naturally lean chicken, and a side of stuffed baked potatoes from omahasteaks.com. And the great news? I get to taste all of it when I go home for the holidays. It's pretty wise, huh? Well, when you use the code FREAKS right now with your order at omahasteaks.com, you're going to grab an additional $40 off your order. And that's on top of an already 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Code FREAKS, and you'll get $40 off. The tastiest steaks, pork, chicken, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals, they're waiting for you at omahasteaks.com. Take the guesswork out of gifting. Order now with code FREAKS for $40 off. And beat the rush because some things never change, right? Omaha Steaks, the world's best beef. Every steak and every entree comes with 100% money-back guarantee. Order today, beat the shipping rush, and use promo code FREAKS at checkout for $40 off at omahasteaks.com. Minimum order may be required. In your free time, Freak Nation, check out lucasoil.com. That's lucasoil.com to find a number of products to keep your hot rod fat and happy. Go to lucasoil.com, supporting the Freak Nation for damn near all of these 22 years from the Lucas Oil Studios. I might add, Freak Nation. His name is John Force. What else can you say? 16-time funny car champion, one of the greatest interviews in the history of mankind in all of sports. And he joins us now in the Freak Nation.
Okay, hey, I got to ask. Somewhere at a racetrack, you told me you two got married. Not you and Statt, you and that beautiful girl. Did that happen?
It did, yes.
When the hell did that happen? I never got an invitation. I never.
Statt, man, you were supposed to give it to him.
It's all my fault, John. They gave it to me to give to you, and I forgot.
Oh, man. But it freaked me out when you said it, and I walked away. I said, wait, he married Crash? No, you misunderstood that. Okay.
Yes, hey, we kept it quiet for many, 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 many years.
John, when we got married, you were 60 years old.
Yeah.
Hey, I brought you something from Texas here.
It's a big-ass middle finger.
You know where that joke goes. Sarah's going to get mad. You talk about, I'm a young kid. I got heart. I got Monster Energy. I got everything to make me and coffee when I need it. So what are we going to talk about?
I don't know, John Force. I'm getting kind of tired of calling you 16-timer, John Force. When the hell are we going to make it 17-timer?
Well, I'm trying. So I'm trying to get it done, and I'm working on it. And my race car, Daniel Hood, my boys that run the Blue Def and Peak, Motor Oil, Chevrolet, with all my sponsors on it. Daniel Hood and Tim Fabrizi. We've been fast, but even last year, I was in the hunt. I actually had the points lead for a few rounds last year until I crossed the center line, and because I didn't realize I could lose points. Hell, I don't read the rule books. So in the middle of it, they're doing a great job. And now we got consistency. We ran the speed and ET and won the race, did it all. And even though Robert reminded me, you ran 3:35, he said, a couple years back, I ran 3:39. But that's a Chevrolet Camaro either way, so I'm excited about that.
So John Force, 16-time funny car champion, 73 years old, just celebrated his birthday, 155 wins. You're asked this all the time, John Force, but your biggest accomplishment is what? As a father of some wonderful women that simply take care of this planet. What's the biggest accomplishment for John Force?
Well, my family, my children, my wife, the people that made all this possible. I was at a ball game last night with Noah, watched him play baseball, and I just sat up there. And yet they go out on the weekends. They drive a junior dragster. Him and Jacob. They're 9-8 or 10-9 or something. Autumn is moving up to Super Comp. Robert, his daughter, and my daughter Adra's daughter. So that is the future of me. Nobody's going to live forever. But see if I can take these lights off. The lights are really bright. But nobody's going to live forever, not even me. But Statman, he might. Okay, but that, and I want to win. But you know what? It is what it is. And my job is to win races. I got the Proc kid, Austin, with Montana brand. And that's really cool to me. Robert with Auto Club, Brittany with Flavor Pack and Monster, and of course me with Peak. But that's what I do to grow my company, to keep it together, to keep everybody's jobs. Social media and PR is becoming huge now. B2B business we're talking things this morning, B2B. I didn't even know what that meant. You know what I mean? Now things are happening. And then in the middle of it, I won a race. Hey, I've been winning races for the last 100 years, every year. And the championship's out there. I am not giving up on it. It's what I dream about in my little world that I live in. I can't even let Robert in that world. He is so caught up with winning. You don't know the way it is. And but he's a good man, and he's president and runs my company. And good weekend. Now we're heading to Richmond, and I get to be back on your show.
Hold on, though. Hold on just a second.
Didn't
the
even call me
racing
for the wedding.
Yeah, I know. So sorry. So sorry. The racing lineage, though, with all the forces, in and out of the family, that's taken care of. That is clearly going to live on for decades, for centuries, to be perfectly honest. Who has the best business sense in your family? I mean, is it Adra? Is it Ashley? Who's the business person that's going to really keep the team and those B2Bs that you are referring to moving healthily?
Yeah, but Adra runs all the money in the company. Hell, I can't even count. And she's run that from the day she came out of school. We had one desk. She sat on one side, and the phone would ring, and she'd answer, yes, John Force Racing. And they'd go, is John Force there? Oh, let me check with his secretary to see if he's busy right now, to see if I can get him. Hold on. And she'd go, Dad, do you want to talk to him? Who is it? And I'd say, give it to me. Good job, kid. And that's how we lived. This whole thing was smoke and mirrors. And I don't know how I got here, but she was very important. Now Robert runs the company. Daniel, Ashley's husband, runs my race car. Ashley runs my TV production company. You know what I'm saying? And it's all just a big family. Jimmy runs a team. His boy drives one. His other son, Sam Prock, runs, my shops in Indy and comes on the road with us when we need help. So it's just a big family affair. But you look at Barlam. I don't know Tober, but we're getting to be family. You know what I mean? Because that's how I want it to be. And hell, Guido and Kelly called me to tell me they love me because they're just the best people in the world. I got to try to figure out how to get them back. Tony Stewart and Caps ran off with him. Okay, what'd you ask?
I know. I remember you had a small house on the west side, not small. Yeah, right. It was still like 5 bedrooms, but it was on the west side of Indy. This is the mid 90s. And I remember when Guido and there was a guy there named Kevin and Eric Medlin was one of your mechanics. And yes, I remember those guys coming from the very beginning of John Force Racing and having fun with those guys summer times in Indianapolis. And now look at you. It's insane what you say. It's just a family business, but you've grown it and massaged it so well. You make it look easy. I know it wasn't easy.
Hey, at that ranch we had there in Indy that we ended up sold, and we built the shops in Indy. And we got big shops in California and movie theaters out here and museums. And then back there we got chassis paint, engine building programs, and museum back there. But when we had that little ranch, I wished I would have kept it, but I sold it to build the new place. But I remember we had a John Deere tractor came with it. And a guy showed up there and he goes, I see a John Deere tractor, but you don't cut the grass. There's people out there you pay to cut the grass. And he said, you've never moved any dirt. And he goes, why do you have that big old tractor? So me and Guido walked over to it, and the big, what's that thing in the front you scoop up dirt with? The bucket. It was full of ice and beer.
Yes.
And I said, we run around this place, we drink beer out of that tractor, and then we just drive it around like we know what we're doing. So smoke and mirrors. They don't need to know all that, but we love what we do. We're heading to Richmond. I got a race car that'll race. We got some new promotions coming. Sarah's killing them with social media, and she's got this young girl that helps her in our marketing team, Hope, and we're going to grow this and PR and all this stuff. Because the world's crazy what you guys do, where you put us out there in the world that I don't even understand. I'm a dinosaur. And oh man, yesterday on my birthday, I had 10 million phone calls. Okay. And in the middle of it, I'm trying to figure out, because it don't tell you who it is. You're just supposed to know. And I had all these people like, I don't have a clue. And so I'd send a message. Thank you. Love you. And then I get a guy call back. Why are you saying you love me? Well, first of all, I just saying I love you. Who are you? I'm Paul from Boston. And I just found your number, how to call you. So you got to be careful what you type into the deal. And then my team, let me give you an example of something. Last week, they sent over a deal. NHRA sent a thing, so we're sending it out to all the drivers and employees. We're starting 30 minutes later tomorrow because of weather coming. And so for the first time, I picked up my phone and I said, THANKYOU. Thank you. And I pushed the little deal. My wife showed me how to do it. Beep. And it went. And then all of it come back. Hey, anybody listening? Somebody's got Force's phone. We're getting responses. So they all started calling me like, who's on the phone? Where's the phone? Let's find it. Can't find Force. And I was there. And then I said, you're all making fun of me, aren't you? Because I don't know how to run this phone. You know what's embarrassing? When you get out of your car and you take your phone and you go like that, and then you realize it ain't a flip-flop. That is really embarrassing.
All right.
The good old days.
John, as the only two dinosaurs on the phone call, there you go, John. Me and you, we have that in common. You're a dinosaur, and so am I.
But you look better than me. I've been road hard. I'm beat up and put away. And people are telling me, when are you going to retire? I said, I missed that 10 years ago. And the sponsor said to me, you mean 20 years ago? We had the same conversation. You were going to retire back then. In a couple of years, you're still here. So they won't even write that in my contract. They're all signing me up for another round, though. I'm good.
Funny how our culture can often equate wealth with intelligence. Elon Musk, for example, is the world's wealthiest man. He knows about electric cars and sending rockets to Mars, but is having trouble and is confused about social media. Same with NFL team owner Daniel Snyder. He made billions in marketing and advertising, but he's having problems managing people, especially women. Now there's Roger Penske, a billionaire in various businesses, but he's been blistered by people in the IndyCar industry who say he's fumbled marketing. This week, IndyCar announced a video docuseries for next spring before the Indy 500. The network footprints are relatively small, but the audience that will get access to that programming is new to IndyCar. Maybe the captain knows how to navigate the stormy seas of marketing enough to walk down the hill and get them all. He doesn't have great experience selling tickets. Maybe this deal will prove Roger Penske can cross over many bridges at once. Still, there are several in IndyCar who think Roger can't find a marketing bridge with a GPS. Peace.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
You know, they'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
Hey, it's Kenny Sargent, a loyal Omaha Steaks dude for years. And during the holidays for my family, I'm ordering juicy burgers, tender filet mignon, air-chilled, naturally lean chicken, and a side of stuffed baked potatoes from omahasteaks.com. And the great news? I get to taste all of it when I go home for the holidays. It's pretty wise, huh? Well, when you use the code FREAKS right now with your order at omahasteaks.com, you're going to grab an additional $40 off your order. And that's on top of an already 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Code FREAKS and you'll get $40 off. The tastiest steaks, pork, chicken, and easy-to-prepare comfort meals, they're waiting for you at omahasteaks.com. Take the guesswork out of gifting. Order now with code FREAKS for $40 off and beat the rush because some things never change, right? Omaha Steaks, the world's best beef. Every steak and every entree comes with 100% money-back guarantee. Order today, beat the shipping rush, and use promo code FREAKS at checkout for $40 off at omahasteaks.com. Minimum order may be required.
It's more than just a slogan. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. General Tire's Grabber X3 mud terrain tire offers aggressive styling and is engineered for durability with innovative performance features that are ready to carry you through extreme mud, dirt, and rock-covered terrain. For extreme traction that's ready for anything and rugged styling to match, look no further than the Grabber X3. General Tire delivers for whatever you do. Check out GeneralTire.com today. General Tire, aggressively styling the speed freaks since 2001.
Crash, I got an idea for you, Freak Nation. Go to omahasteaks.com. Already 50% off site-wide. Put code FREAKS in there. You're going to get additional $40 off those juicy steaks, those air-chilled chicken breasts, those apple tarts that Statman likes to talk about, wine. They've got wine, plenty of vegetables, prepared meals. Go to omahasteaks.com right now and get an additional $40 off. Keyword FREAKS. That's FREAKS. And you get $40 off at omahasteaks.com. Avoid the rush. Order now to omahasteaks.com. Scott Dixon.
A couple of steaks on the grill and watch the game. Don't have to pay $2,000 for the game.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a great point, man. Roll out there some Omaha steaks while you're watching the Buckeyes put a beat down on those Bulldogs.
Yeah. If that happens.
Come on, man. His name is Scott Dixon, 2022 pole sitter for your Indy 500, as we highlight more of our superstars in motorsports here in the Freak Nation Lucas Oil Studios. Freak Nation, his name is Scott Dixon, your pole sitter for the 2022 Indy 500. Been coming to the Freak Nation many, many years. Good to get him back in here. And Scott, there's a lot of articles that I've read about you and the poll and the significance of this poll. However, there's one reference that Jalopnik made to you, and they call you they called your run the evergreen excellence of Scott Dixon. And I did the same thing with the look on your face. I thought, what the hell is that? Do you have any idea what that means?
I don't know. I have no idea. Did you read the article? maybe it explained it in the article, man. I'm now gonna go search that and find out what it was all about. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Were we running some special fuel or something? I have no idea.
I don't know. And I looked at that's all they referred to as evergreen. And of course, I looked up evergreen on Merriam-Webster.
Oh,
and you're not foliage. You don't remain green. Maybe freshness or of interest, universally and continually relevant, not limited in applicability to a particular event or date.
There you go, right there.
That's a very bland kind of. I'm just bland, I guess. That's what they were trying to say. Like, good job, great,
No. Scott, you've been at this for more than 2 decades. That means that you are constantly relevant. You are constantly in the picture of greatness. You are a 6-time champion. What that means is evergreen. It might sound a little bit on the conservative side, but it's not. It is, don't you ever effing count me out. That's what that means.
Well, they should have just said that instead of, that weird,
Thank you.
But no, it's been good. It's I think for us, it was definitely a roller coaster, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we nearly got knocked out of the Fast 12, so it's, I think we kept it more simple on Sunday and did what we should have done on the first day, and car was super fast. So this place, it's always so emotional. It's a roller coaster no matter what day it is, and it was the same today. Just a few issues here and there, and finally getting some speed, and trying to get to that top of the chart every day is extremely tough. But starting in the right spot, but it guarantees you absolutely nothing.
The word history has been huge since you grabbed the pole, but leading up to that, was that even in your vocabulary, in the sense of, did it even come into the conversation with you and your crew chief, you and your family, you and anybody? Did you realize that you were going to be in that above 233 range?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought, I actually said on Saturday, I said if VK doesn't win the pole, there's something wrong. Which that was my kind of view of how the weekend was progressing. I think their first lap, big speed, what did he do? A 2:34.7, I think, on his first run. They were in ideal conditions and they went probably at the perfect time of the day. But I thought they had enough kind of in the tank that was going to carry them through, and conditions changed a lot into our favor. So I think the weather has been so tricky to read, and the way that it has actually controlled the speeds. It's tough to tell, but I didn't even know we were that close. A record was even that close. I didn't even really understand, to be honest. Ari's was not even a pole run. It was on the second weekend of qualifying and things like that. So I guess I had a bit of a history lesson this weekend.
Which is A-okay, because now you're a part of it. Now you're the top of the conversation. In talking about this race, and obviously, like you said, nothing is given to you at Indianapolis, even if you start on the pole. Who do you feel, your teammates aside, maybe now that you just said something about Rinus VeeKay, maybe him aside, who is your toughest competition come Sunday?
I feel like teammates. They've got the same car. They've got great teams behind them. I think that the Ed Carpenter group has been very fast and very good in traffic, and honestly, one of the toughest and best cars I think I've seen are the McLarens. So this is the problem. You've got a good 10, maybe 15 cars that have a smooth day and have no issues. Could be right in the fight. So this is, I think that's what everybody loves about the Speedway now, is that there's just nobody that's dominant, and to kind of see how it plays out, you're going to be on the edge of your seat.
Scott Dixon joining us here in the Freak Nation, 6-time IndyCar champion, sitting on the pole for 2022 Indy 500. And Scott, do you know the difference between 220 and 234 when you're in a race car, or is there no difference?
No, you definitely feel it. And even from, say the Fast 12 run to the Fast 6, I knew immediately when I came onto the front straight, and went to 6th gear, and just how quickly accelerated. I was like, this is going to be a very fast run. And, you knew the conditions were favorable as well. The track temp had come down. The first run for me was definitely the toughest run of the whole weekend, that Fast 12. We were probably a little too aggressive, I think, on trimming out, and my fourth lap was almost a disaster. Had to get out of it big time in turn 2, actually reach for the brake, to slow the car down, and I think we lost almost a mile an hour on that last lap. But having seen that stick, I knew we were going to be strong, come the Fast 6. But you immediately by the lights or just the sense of and feeling of how the car picks up that you can even feel the very small amounts of a mile an hour.
In the NHRA, they tried to slow the cars down and they shortened the track to 1,000 feet. Is there a speed that Scott Dixon, all 41 years old, that's afraid to run an open wheel car with 32 other race cars, buddy?
I think all drivers just want to go faster, man. That's why I think, honestly, Fast Friday, you do feel a big change going from the race boost to qualifying boost, and sometimes the car actually just feels better because it's loaded more. It feels, sometimes you've got a little more grip depending on, the scenario. You're going faster, yeah, but the biggest thing is when it goes bad, right? That's when you're like, well, maybe we shouldn't be going that fast, and that's when the reality check happens. It's when you get yourself into those crazy moments of like, wow, this might hurt. So yeah, it's the problem is the wall is going zero.
Yes.
Yeah, and other cars as well sometimes.
The walls are pretty hard. You can't knock those ones down.
No.
This is a hell of a comparison, but when you get your driver's license, they get you out in traffic, and even some teachers are smart enough to get the students on the freeway. Yet you've got 33 cars out there, and you've got drivers in these cars that haven't experienced the Indy 500 and really running on that track with 32 other cars. Be a man and tell me that's concerning.
Yeah, I call them, the 32 crazies, because everybody, when it comes to trying to win, man, and anything will go. And, I think we saw a little bit of an incident today, actually, with Grosjean and Dalton, where, a late move can kind of get into a compromised position, Dalton ended up actually hitting the fence. So it's those calculations are going on for the 3 hours and, the 200 laps you're running around this place, So it is hard to judge some people and how big a risk they take. To make sure you get to the end of the race. But, at the end, ultimately, man, you just got to be flat out and hope that you take a big enough risk that it pays off and doesn't put yourself in the fence.
Scott Dixon, can you take us through your race day morning, your prep? I mean, you want to focus on family. You want it to just kind of seem like a normal morning, but my goodness, you have one of the biggest things coming up in just a few hours after you wake up or after that cannon goes off. What is Scott Dixon's race day morning at Indianapolis like?
You're trying to just treat it like any other race. I think if you try to overthink it or do anything different, your day might go different, So I don't know. Like this one is, the commitments are different, the amount of people are different, all the friends and family are different. There's a lot more on the plate, and honestly, the week is, the week leading up is probably the hardest because you're just constantly doing interviews asking, how's the race going to go? Well, I don't know. I hope it's going to go well, or who's going to pass, who's not. This is, so you're constantly talking about it, but all you want to do is just get to the race. So I think for most of the drivers, getting into the car race day morning, that you're like, okay, thank God, now let's get on with the race, So, it's for me. I try to keep it as simple as possible. Yes, there are loads more obligations, I think, on this weekend, and loads more pressure just because all the sponsors are here. Chips, putting on not pressure, but he wants to win the race. Everybody wants to race. You yourself. My wife. She's the most competitive person here, so that's
yes,
she's normally the biggest problem to deal with.
Hold on, who makes the pancakes for the kids? Are you still on pancake duty or scrambled egg duty?
No, Emma's very good at that. She definitely she makes the pancakes, and actually I'm not sure what's happening this year. It changes each year too, whether the kids stay. I think the girls are staying in the bus on Saturday night with us. So Kit definitely won't be staying in the bus. He's a little too much action at the moment. So I don't think anybody would be getting any sleep if he decided to come and camp.
Yeah, and he's getting ready. He's going to be a driver. I don't know what Emma thinks about that, but holy cow, it's looking good.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know how many times this week, he's like, I'll take him around in the golf cart and he'll steer it. Like, he's only 2, but when it comes to pit lane, he's like, I have a go. And I'm like, no, you can't drive. He's like, no, I go. And I'm like, no, man, you can't drive this car. So he's a hoot. He's funny, but he's definitely car mad, that's for sure.
Well, it's not lost on us, given the fact that we've known Chip Ganassi damn near longer than you, and the fact that this guy's got a birthday tomorrow, which leads this question. Have you run a 500 on his birthday before?
That's a good question. I think it has actually happened. I don't know when, but so it's the 24th, right?
Right.
Yeah, so I want to say we have, but I'm not sure exactly when that was. Maybe it was a year Dario won or something. I don't know. We'll have to look at the stats on that one.
How many 500s, including this Sunday, will you have run?
This is my 20th.
Damn.
That's amazing.
That's a nice round number, right?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Let's get the win for the 20th. I think that's what everybody should be told before the race, all the other drivers. Like, just be nice to Dixon out there. It's his 20th anniversary. Like, let him win.
What would 41-year-old Scott...
I'll happily split the paycheck with him.
Yeah, you will.
But the baby Borg is all yours.
That's right. Yep.
Hey, what would 41-year-old Scott Dixon tell rookie 21-year-old Scott Dixon prior to the 500?
Oh, lots. Everybody makes some life choices, that you probably know. I don't know. Probably enjoy it. I think that's for me, I really did enjoy my first few years here because you didn't really know what to expect, so you just kind of go with the flow. I think the more time you spend at this place, you know what's coming and the demands and how on the edge it can be and things like that. But I don't know. Like I wouldn't change a thing. I've had an amazing life. I love doing what I'm doing. I just, I think when you're in this position, you just hope it keeps going for a lot longer.
Badass, buddy. Good luck to you. We'll see you race day morning to your demise. I know when we roll around, it's like, God damn.
Get away from me.
Bastards.
Feel good. Right. Let's do it.
Take pictures of the kids.
That's right.
Buddy, thank you very much. Good luck, man.
As always. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Lucas Oil Studios, Freak Nation, General Tire, Lucas Oil. Go to generaltire.com, lucasoil.com, omahasteaks.com. Go to legion.org, the American Legion, all of those fantastic companies helping out the Freak Nation, making this fantastic show tonight popular, highlighting our 2022 interviews from, again, the last 12 months. John Force, Scott Dixon, AJ Allmedinger, Peter Solberg, and his son, Oliver, Solberg. Who did I forget? AJ. I get it.
That's it. AJ, Petter, Oliver, John Force, Scott Dixon. There you go.
Dang.
That's a pretty serious lineup, man. You got 16, 17, 20. You got about 20, 25 championships in there.
I wonder how many billions of dollars all those guests. I don't know. It's awesome. Freak Nation, next week we're going to have the annual Freaky Awards, where you too can chime in with Driver of the Year, Freak of the Year, Race of the Year. It's the Freakies. We do it every year here in the Freak Nation. We were going to do it tonight, but with Crash Gladys out, no, we got to have our freak back before we get into our Freakies of the Year. We've got to, trust me.
One freak down.
One freak down, man. One freak down. One freak down. All right, Statt, man. Let's close out this thing. Get ready for another one next Sunday night here in the Lucas Oil Studios. Shoot the juice to the moose and Statt, man.
Cut it loose.
See ya.